Welcome to r/desserts. Welcome to r/desserts. Today we're going. Yes.
Today we have a special guest.
Also, don't forget to check out Reader Reads channel. We'll put it right here, right there. He does Reddit videos too, and he's a nice person, and he owes us $7.50. If we get 10 different comments from 10 different people saying that you came from r/desserts videos onto his videos, he might round that 750 to a 10. So, better content? Oh.
We're reading Children of Porn Star. What is it like knowing your parent is in porn?
Gabby, we're reading r/ask Reddit.
What?
Okay. My mother was a dominatrix professionally for many years, sex therapist by day and dominant by night. So maybe this is something similar? I did most of the chores in the house except laundry. I was not allowed in the basement for any reason. Of course, that means I snuck down. Our basement was a dungeon. Poles, straps, things to straddle, walls of toys and tools, and the smell of incense and something else I didn't know at the time. Sometimes my mother had clients when I would normally be home. She usually didn't. We had a code. I would check the mailbox. If there was an envelope with my name on it, it meant that it contained money and a time for me to return. I would take the money and go down the street to a bookshop where I would order a wrap and do my homework in the cafe. At the time I didn't mind, but as I got older, I realized it wasn't really the best thing for me and it wasn't a safe solution. A few times she forgot to leave me an envelope and I walked into sounds coming from the basement. Sometimes I wasn't a client, but rather just someone she wanted to bone. I have seen my mother bent over various pieces of furniture in our living room, unfortunately, when it just came to a walking into her general sex life. She also answered the door when I came home to see her in a harness or in her gear. I saw her naked often and she wasn't shy about it. I didn't know what she did was weird, but only that I wasn't meant to talk about it. Sometimes my afternoons were spent having a snack in a bookstore cafe, and sometimes I was able to come right at home when I got off the bus. I don't know if it was entirely about money, or if it was just something she loved doing. My mother was more down to earth with sex-related things for a parent. She was very difficult in most other areas of our life. I didn't look down on her for doing this though. My relationship with my mother is complicated, but it's due to a number of unrelated factors. I can't remember how to do the James Charles thing anymore.
Yeah. Boom, boom, boom.
Keep fucking.
My mother was never a porn star, but she was a popular dancer at a topless bar. I see there aren't many real answers here, so hopefully this will give you some relevant insight. Edited. There are now many great answers. This is going to sound backwards, but I was also raised Christian, more so by my dad, but she insisted we would go to church and all that throughout. So there was a lot of secrecy involved. My sister and I saw the hypocrisy in her double life. We lost a lot of respect for her. We still love and support her because what else were we going to do? She's our mother. Now, 15 plus years later, I am heartbroken over it. My mother is one of the most insecure people I know. She is a 4-time divorce and continues to seek out men to support her, believes she needs to be supported by men, and consequently is forever getting involved with she has no interest in. She rents a rundown old house in the worst neighborhood in town. The only reason she got into the house is because the church helped her out. My sister and I have been helping her with rent for years. This is getting a little ramby, so I'll wrap it up. I feel the need to clarify. I do not blame all my mother's problems on her time as a stripper, but I see it as a huge factor as a long line of objectifying, mentally damaging events that have contributed to her current situation. Additionally, I didn't give a great perception of women to know that my mom's only worth in the world was her sexuality. Feel free to ask me a question. I'll answer them as best as I can. You know what I think sucks? Like, I don't think I could ever do that to my parents. Like, if my parents were to be like, alcoholics, which they aren't, and I love them. But if they were, I don't think I could be like, oh, sorry, you live in a rundown place. You know, like I think I would like take them with. I work with a girl whose mom had been a porn star. She said her father was a scumbag and in jail. She seemed to have great animosity towards him. She didn't know her mother and had grown up with her grandparents. She was very pretty and pretty much hated her parents, but loved her grandparents very much. However, her grandparents were starting to get old, and they wanted her to take care of them. They live far away from a major city, and she has worked in said city. She was torn between going to have a life in an actual city and helping to take care of them, since they had raised her.
In the comments, it says, "What happened next?" And they replied, "I met her on independent contracting marketing." Oh wait, fuck, I fucked up. That's awful. I met her on an independent contracting marketing job, and it was just 3 days, so I had no idea what happened next. Her parents were both drug addicts.
I'm not a child of a porn star, but my cousin is Lily Love. Haha. It was weird when I first found out, but looking back at it, her dad, my uncle, is really controlling and sheltering, so I could see how she ended up turning into it. It's weird talking to her casually, knowing in the back of my mind she's doing porn, but she's constantly flying all over the world and going to event parties, new cities, so seeing all of it in Facebook is kind of cool. I was teased about it for about a week by some close friends, but I dropped it off the radar. Edit. No, I have not jerked off to my cousin, despite living in Alabama. That would straight up weird me out.
I don't know who that is, but she must be important if you said, "That is my cousin." So,
I know.
she must be flourishing.
Might have to look her up later. I don't know.
I went to school with Pamela Anderson's sons. I was in school when one of them was there, Brandon, but I graduated before I met the other one, Dylan. As it was a boarding school, they were placed into a male house, and obviously the question came up. I don't know how they handled it, but they were completely normal, down-to-earth kids who just happened to be the sons of Pamela. I think you come to terms with your parents' past and realize that the past is a past for a reason and it shouldn't affect your present and future. Edit. I should say that making a sex tape doesn't mean you're a porn star. I made a silly generalization. Sorry about that.
I went to school with them as well. I lived in the same house as them. Brandon was a weird-ass kid who lived for the party like his father, while his brother Dylan is a talented rugby player and surfer. Only one of them is down to earth.
Oh shit. I made a throwaway to respond to this, but those kids are not down to earth. Brandon is one of the biggest brats I've ever met. Source. I worked at a facility he and his brother would occasionally attend, much like YMCA. Easily one of the most entitled, spoiled little brats I had the displeasure of encountering, and he stood out in the sea of little rich douche nozzles for his ability to move large quantities of douche.
Is it my turn to read?
Yeah.
Did you fall asleep, Gabby?
Maybe. I have a friend in school whose dad directs porn. I tease him all the time about it, and the kid goes up to him jokingly asks his dad if he would hire more people. He doesn't seem to mind, but I don't think he wants the entire world to know about it either.
Growing up, my stepfather was in porn. In the late 60s and the early 70s, he owned the theaters and production companies, and then in the late 70s and early 80s, he made the move to Betamax and then to VHS. The theaters closed and became video stores. He was ultra wealthy. He was super flashy and had a fleet of exotic vehicles, drivers, bodyguards, the works. He lived in an exclusive community and had hundreds of millions of dollars, but still wasn't quite accepted. The kids told everyone he was in publishing. They were very embarrassed, and it was an exploitative position he was in. Throwaway accounts for obvious reasons. Also, he's dead. Someone got past the box.
Alright, gamers. So, we about to head out. Just as a reminder, we're all baptized. Yeah, okay, can someone continue? I can't.
Okay, yeah. You guys probably noticed, but we forgot to mention Samuel's not here. He has people in his house and he couldn't record. But He's gonna be there for the streams. Expect the video every week and a half.
Help me, please. The front of my toe is missing.
Oh well, that's our end card.
By the way, guys, I don't know if you've noticed, but we're changing up our upload schedule just a little bit. We're now streaming 3 times a week. So if you want to join in, that'd be pretty epic. You're not a flex, but we got Minecraft Monday, Fortnite Friday, and Super Roblox Saturday. So be a trooper and come say hi.